The Teaching and Learning Horizon Report is really about the future conditions for teaching and learning in higher education. And what makes it special is that it's not just focused on directly educational topics, but we take a look at the broader forces. So, looking at, what are the social, technological, economic, environmental, and then also political forces that are all together shaping higher education right now.
We decided to introduce this new section into the Horizon Report, the Signals of Change section. It's actually a really exciting update, in my opinion, because these signals give us a glimpse into things that could be trends someday. Not necessarily, we don't know. These are one-off events, stories from the news, stories from things we're hearing from our colleagues, sometimes just something that we saw in a message board or an email listserv. But there are interesting little tidbits and happenings that kind of make you go, huh, that is interesting. What could that look like in the future?
One trend that felt, I think, really interesting to me, and I think in the sense that it has a really strong direct impact on teaching and learning in higher ed, is the trend about AI reshaping the relationship between students and instructors.
In previous iterations, we've seen that AI is almost a tack on. So it's something that folks are really focusing on. It's something they're putting a lot of energy in. This year, it was much more of it's moved from that future trend. Like, we're not trying to get there anymore. It has arrived, right? It's here. It's part of our teaching and learning practices. And it's something that it's actively restructuring higher education.
AI has kind of thrusted on us that trust between teachers and students as we think about AI plagiarism detection or how AI is going to be used in the classroom. This kind of idea of trust with, these sensors to monitor your mental health in the classroom. And even in the larger society, the trust between the population, the communities we serve, and the institutions themselves. And so we could see this connection between AI bringing this new technology and, trying to remain a human-focused, kind of people-first institution where there's trust.
What we're seeing in the report is that students and instructors both, right, are increasingly relying on AI to support their teaching and learning. And so in response to that, we see that some instructors are approaching student work with some suspicion. And now, interestingly, there's sort of this misalignment emerging where students are facing, relatively prohibitive guidance. But now they're starting to question, why is it okay for my instructors to use AI to support their teaching if I'm not allowed to use AI to support my learning?
Teaching and learning professionals, we're not deciding anymore whether AI is going to shape our environment. Like, that's the accepted reality. It's now really like, how can we be intentional and proactive and thinking about how AI is going to shape our teaching and learning environment. And it puts a lot more agency in a lot of cases on the learners themselves.
One of the, I think, really interesting signals that we saw in the report was around the emergence of a company that entirely specializes in helping people create autonomous businesses. So imagine a business that runs pretty much on its own with minimal human oversight because it has a system of AI agents operating the different pieces of the business. This is something that's not yet happening at scale, and so it's not a trend, but it is something that has happened in one instance and really stretches our imagination to think about what would the role of higher education be in a future where this is a trend, if it could get to that level.
AI is more seated, it's more accepted, it is more part of just our daily activity. And there is a lot of empowerment that can come from that, potential empowerment and efficiencies for teaching and learning. And I think with that is this balance of, and this push-pull of empowerment versus surveillance. And so it's been really heartening to me as we looked at trends come in. Yes, there was some trends that, gave us all pause to kind of take a step back and say, oh, like what's coming out of this? But also we're seeing that institutions are bringing along that more cultural, that privacy lens, that how are we talking to our students? How are we talking to our faculty members and making sure they're informed? How are we ensuring that data literacy includes those AI literate components, right?
We're seeing budget strain. There's some trends about enrollment pressures. And then we see this kind of growing or ongoing attention to ROI and the value of higher education. And so I think that the combination of these trends are coming together to create this giant financial pressure that's affecting pretty much all parts of the institution. It is shaping everything, really.
And what we're finding is that there really is a tension there where we're being asked by the local community, the local business community, employers, to really produce graduates that are ready to hit the ground running as soon as they start a job. And we have to figure out a way to make that fit within, a career and technical program or even a transfer program. And so we see this playing out not only in the trends, but in higher education over the last couple of years as to, is a bachelor's degree, say, required for that job that you're looking for? And if it is required, is the expense to earn that bachelor's degree, does it pay off for that job itself? Because does the salary equate to that time and lost opportunity to get there?
Institutions can't afford to stay reactive. I think across the report, whether the issues AI or accessibility, cybersecurity or financial pressure, the patterns now are clear enough that waiting to respond has become, its own kind of risk.
It's always been important to develop that skill, looking into the future and thinking about potential futures so that you can plan accordingly. But in today's turbulent world where uncertainty is truly the new normal and we don't know what's going to happen one day or the next, being able to flex this muscle of being planful and intentional and thoughtful about what's going to come in the future or what could come in the future is really vital, because without that, all we're doing is constantly reacting to change as it comes. What the Horizon Report really does is gives us the tools to then translate insights into action on our campuses and create the future we want to see, instead of being passive recipients of the future that seems to be running out of control without our involvement.